Let me start with a question. How many times have you walked away from a conversation thinking, I should have said something? You smiled, nodded, stayed nice, but deep down, you knew you weren't okay. We've all been there, trapped between wanting peace and needing truth. And in that silent moment, something inside you whispers, why do I always have to be the one who stays quiet? Today, I want to talk to the part of you that's tired of being nice just to keep the peace. The part that's done pretending everything's fine when it's not. Because here's the truth, being nice won't save you in difficult conversations. It'll only silence you. And silence doesn't build respect. It buries it. This isn't about being rude or hard. It's about learning how to be honest without losing your calm, strong without losing your kindness. Because real strength isn't in how loud you speak, it's in how true your words are. Throughout this speech, we're going to uncover why your voice matters, how to set boundaries without guilt, and how to replace fear with confidence in every conversation that challenges you. So if you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or exhausted from always being the nice one, stay with me till the end. By the time we're done, you won't just learn how to speak up. You'll learn how to stand tall, stay calm, and communicate with the kind of strength that earns both respect and peace. Being nice is easy, but being honest takes courage. Most people confuse the two, thinking kindness means never disagreeing, never saying no, never rocking the boat. But in truth, niceness often becomes a mask we wear to avoid discomfort. We smile when we want to speak up. We agree when our heart screams, no. And we pretend everything is fine when it's clearly not. Niceness feels safe because it avoids the risk of conflict, but it quietly kills authenticity. Difficult conversations demand more than politeness. They demand honesty that respects both you and the other person. Being honest doesn't mean being harsh. It means being real while staying grounded in respect. When we choose niceness over truth, we end up trading short-term peace for long-term resentment. The words we swallow become the walls that distance us from others. People can sense when you're holding back. They may like your kindness, but they won't trust your silence. True connection doesn't come from avoiding friction. It comes from walking through it with honesty and care. When you speak with clarity instead of just kindness, you give others a chance to understand you instead of guessing what's wrong. Honesty builds bridges that fake peace can never sustain. It gives strength to your voice, value to your boundaries, and dignity to your emotions. The goal isn't to win an argument. It's to bring truth into a space where misunderstanding has lived too long. The next time you find yourself tempted to stay nice in a hard moment, remember you don't have to choose between being kind and being truthful. You can be both, but if one must lead, let honesty take the first step. The reason many people stay trapped in being nice is not because they want peace, but because they fear losing it. Deep down, that niceness is often fear in disguise. Fear of being judged, fear of rejection, fear of being seen as difficult. So instead of expressing what we truly feel, we hide behind politeness, hoping it will protect us from conflict. But that fear doesn't save us, it silences us. Every time we choose silence over truth, we teach others that our feelings don't matter, that our comfort comes second. Over time, this quiet surrender chips away at confidence until we no longer recognize our own voice. Fear convinces us that conflict will break the relationship, but what really breaks it is pretending. Pretending everything is okay when it isn't, doesn't build harmony. It builds distance. You can't connect deeply with someone while constantly filtering your truth to make them comfortable. Niceness rooted in fear may look calm on the outside, but it's emotional chaos inside. And that chaos doesn't disappear. It shows up later as resentment, anxiety, or burnout. The truth is, being too nice is a way of controlling outcomes. We want to be liked, accepted, and safe. But the moment you stop fearing rejection, you start discovering respect. When you speak with authenticity, you may lose a few people, but you gain yourself. Courage doesn't mean you stop feeling afraid. It means you choose your truth, even when fear whispers otherwise. Real strength isn't found in avoiding tension, but in walking through it with honesty and grace. Because the cost of always being nice is far greater than the discomfort of being real. One of the biggest misstandings people carry is thinking that setting boundaries makes them rude, cold, or selfish. But boundaries are not walls to shut people out. They're gates that protect what matters most: your peace, your energy, and your self-respect. Being nice without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-abandonment. You can only give genuine kindness when it's coming from a place of choice, not obligation. When you constantly say yes to things that hurt your peace just to avoid disappointing others, you're not helping them. You're teaching them that your comfort doesn't count. Boundaries are clarity. They say, here's what's okay, and here's what's not. They guide people on how to treat you, not through anger, but through consistency. The people who genuinely care about you will appreciate your honesty, even if it challenges them. The ones who only value your compliance were never truly respecting you in the first place. Boundaries reveal relationships. They don't destroy them. Being clear doesn't mean being cruel. You can say no without guilt. You can protect your space and still have compassion. The strength of your relationships depends not on how much you sacrifice yourself, but on how clearly you express your limits. It's not your job to make everyone happy. It's your job to live honestly. When you stop apologizing for protecting your energy, you start attracting people who value your truth instead of your silence. Setting boundaries is one of the most loving things you can do for others and for yourself. Because when you respect your own limits, you teach the world how to respect you too. Emotional maturity is choosing what's right over what's easy, even when your feelings want to pull you in the opposite direction. In difficult conversations, our first instinct is often to escape, to stay comfortable, to avoid saying something that might make things tense. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens when you stay calm in discomfort, when you choose courage over avoidance. Being kind is important, but kindness without truth becomes weakness. Real maturity is being able to tell someone the truth with grace, to hold your emotions steady even when the room feels heavy. When you avoid hard conversations for the sake of staying nice, you don't eliminate the problem, you delay it. The tension you run from always finds its way back, and usually with more intensity. But when you face it with emotional control, you turn conflict into clarity. You learn that not every disagreement needs to be a fight, and not every emotion needs to be a reaction. Emotional maturity gives you power because it helps you respond instead of explode, listen instead of defend, and express instead of suppress. The truth is, it takes far more strength to stay grounded in a storm than to walk away from it. Choosing maturity means you understand that peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the ability to handle it with wisdom. Being real doesn't mean being reckless. It means speaking truth with compassion, not aggression. The moment you stop chasing comfort and start embracing courage, everything about the way you communicate changes. You stop fearing difficult conversations because you know they don't break you, they build you. Emotional maturity is the bridge between kindness and confidence, and walking that bridge is where real growth begins. Confidence isn't about speaking louder. It's about speaking clearer. It's not about dominating the conversation. It's about knowing your message and delivering it with calm certainty. In difficult conversations, people often mistake confidence for aggression, thinking that being assertive means raising your tone or standing your ground forcefully. But real confidence comes from clarity, knowing what you feel, what you need, and what you will or won't accept. When you communicate from clarity, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You simply express it through your words and your boundaries. Confusion creates conflict. When you're unclear about what you want to say, others fill in the blanks, and misunderstandings grow. But clarity eliminates guesswork. It turns tension into direction. People respond differently when your message is clean and your tone is calm. They can sense your self-assurance, not because you overpower them, but because you're steady and self-aware. Clarity is quiet power. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase approval. It just stands firm in truth. Confidence built on clarity also protects your emotions. It stops you from over-explaining or apologizing for your truth. It helps you listen better because you're not reacting from insecurity. You're responding from understanding. Every time you express yourself clearly, you reinforce your self-respect. And every time you let fear silence you, you weaken your voice. Confidence doesn't mean you always have the perfect words. It means you trust yourself enough to speak, even when your voice shakes. The more you practice clarity, the stronger your presence becomes. In the end, it's not the loudest person who wins the conversation. It's the one who knows who they are and communicates it with quiet, unwavering confidence. Confidence isn't about speaking louder. It's about speaking clearer. It's not about dominating the conversation. It's about knowing your message and delivering it with calm certainty. In difficult conversations, people often mistake confidence for aggression, thinking that being assertive means raising your tone or standing your ground forcefully. But real confidence comes from clarity, knowing what you feel, what you need, and what you will or won't accept. When you communicate from clarity, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You simply express it through your words and your boundaries. Confusion creates conflict. When you're unclear about what you want to say, others fill in the blanks and misunderstandings grow. But clarity eliminates guesswork. It turns tension into direction. People respond differently when your message is clean and your tone is calm. They can sense your self-assurance, not because you overpower them, but because you're steady and self-aware. Clarity is quiet power. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase approval. It just stands firm in truth. Confidence built on clarity also protects your emotions. It stops you from over-explaining or apologizing for your truth. It helps you listen better because you're not reacting from insecurity. You're responding from understanding. Every time you express yourself clearly, you reinforce your self-respect. And every time you let fear silence you, you weaken your voice. Confidence doesn't mean you always have the perfect words. It means you trust yourself enough to speak even when your voice shakes. The more you practice clarity, the stronger your presence becomes. In the end, it's not the loudest person who wins the conversation. It's the one who knows who they are and communicates it with quiet, unwavering confidence. At the end of the day, being nice won't save you in difficult conversations. Being real will. Niceness may protect you from temporary discomfort, but honesty protects you from lifelong regret. Every time you choose truth over fear, boundaries over guilt, and clarity over confusion, you grow stronger. Growth doesn't come from avoiding hard moments. It comes from facing them with emotional maturity and self-respect. The goal is not to win every argument or please every person. It's to honor yourself in every exchange, because the version of you that speaks with honesty and grace is the version that earns trust, respect, and peace. So as you step into your next hard conversation, remember this: you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present and authentic. Speak from your truth, not your fear. Be kind, but don't lose yourself trying to keep the peace. The right people will value your honesty. The wrong ones will reveal themselves. Either way, you'll be standing on the solid ground of self-respect. Good luck to you as you keep growing into the kind of person who doesn't just talk to be heard, but speaks to be understood. You've got more strength than you realize, and every word of truth you speak makes you stronger. Thank you for listening. And remember, it's not niceness that changes conversations. It's courage wrapped in clarity.